Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. Hope everybody's doing well with the Saharan dust storm. And let me go ahead and introduce everybody. We'll talk about bounty and the links in the right-hand side for anybody that would like to join the show. Lady Cat,
Hello.
Magic Mike,
Hello, everybody.
Derpy,
Hello.
and Katie.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, I guess we'll get rolling with the slides. Let's go to skip bug fix. Well, actually, let's take a step back. Has anybody that's been participating in bounty noticed a significant change in the Hellswarm's UAV performance?
Yeah.
Yep. Very slow to kill.
It's not even working properly.
It sucked.
It's not working as intended, or what do you mean by not working?
Well, it probably is working as intended now.
Okay.
I believe it's still only firing at every turret one time.
Okay. So so now before we were at a third of the DPS, so now we're down to 15%.
1/6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, put it this way: 3 hell swarms can't kill one gate that's being healed by a gatekeeper.
Okay.
Which sometimes is good, which lets you keep going with the UAVs, but it takes you 5 minutes to try and knock over half a target.
Yeah, so it seems like you would time out, and maybe if you don't time out, maybe you need that armor. I'm just kidding. Okay. Yep. So Ligo is he's agreeing it's not even taking out gates. So yeah. But Derpy, you mentioned it wasn't working as intended. Did you get any confirmation or any hints from that as far as Discord or anybody else?
There were other people on Discord noticing it first. I saw it too in the game when I was using mine on a replica base, and it was only firing one time.
Okay.
And I'm not. Kixeye hasn't acknowledged it to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not that I necessarily need to, but just some kind of thing. Hey, we're working on this. We know about this. Would be good. I'm also having a lot of other problems with HTML5 right now. It won't even load for me when it usually works perfectly fine. Well, not perfectly fine. It works well, and it's not even. I can't even play in HTML5 anymore.
Huh. Yeah, I saw that there was problems with HTML5 loading. Did you bust out I'm a cow, respect the moo, and that didn't help either?
Maybe I need to try that.
Okay, maybe. So, okay. All right. I guess we can move on from there then. We're in bounty right now, and now we have let's one more click. This is straight from the forums. So next week we are going to have Pillage, where we expect that we're going to be getting the Mutineer flag. So I would recommend, again, I think I recommended on the Wednesday show, is save your FM tokens from this week if you haven't already spent them, and spend your the tokens that you are earning in the Mutineer on the Bounty TLC on your ships, and save these ones for the flag, so that you can hope to complete your flag prior to the raid, which is the following week. So
yeah, and if we're looking ahead after the raid, we'll have the VXP weekend that week after, and then probably the
The
Siege
same thing.
TLC the week after that.
Well,
I'm curious.
No, we'll have the we'll still have the. Will you have the Siege one?
The Siege TLC. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. We're gonna have Mutineer on the Bounty next the following week. The 20. This would have been 15th, the 22nd.
Okay.
We should have that one. It's the Siege TLC wouldn't be till the following month.
Yeah, I guess the big thing to highlight here is the Pillage next week will be Punisher Mark IIs and Praetorians.
Yep. So a new target will drop. So hopefully it's a reasonable target. Nobody's really had an issue with the sort of secondary non-garrison target yet, as far as it being overly difficult. The Pillage has been grindy to a certain extent, but the targets haven't been so far. They've been in line with expectations, I guess is the word.
They're doable.
Yeah.
That's the important part. They're doable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took my U0 Kicksite fleet in, and that just about got through the first 4 encounters. With some really good driving and some luck, you might be able to get through the whole thing.
You're talking about the TLC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I changed gears on you there.
Yeah. Didn't even hit the brakes. Just poof. Yeah. I've found. Well, we can talk. Well, I was planning to talk about that a little bit later, but
we can do it later.
I found targets 2, 3, and 4 to be more difficult than 5, 6, and 7. But or at least more damage. But as you see, we will. The following month, we are going to be getting the Gladius Hall.
The Gluteus Maximus?
Gladius. Gluteus is Gluteus. Very different spelling. So,
yeah, but it sounds so much the same. We can make lots of jokes. So let him make his jokes.
all those Latin words sound the same. So, yes. Well, was he going for a butt of the joke type of thing with the Gluteus?
Something like that.
Okay, all right. I'm assuming that was headed somewhere like that. So, yeah, and the assumption is that these skirmish and siege TLCs are going to occur the week following. There is no special activity this month. That means not applicable. So there's no special activity. So it is only a 3-week. Will only be a 3-week FM cycle, while the following month will be a 4-month, according to.
4 weeks.
Yeah, because it's to be decided, or above that, to be Canadian. TBC.
I was wondering what that C stood for.
Yeah, to be Canadian, I think is. Yes.
Based off what I'm coming up with, if the raid is always on the second Wednesday of the month, that means we'll have 5 weeks of we'll have 4 Forsaken missions between the first skirmish raid and the second skirmish raid. If you look at a calendar, there's an update here that would happen on July 28th that there's nothing on this calendar for right now. I mean, everything can change.
Yeah.
Dates.
Let's see. Well, there's July 17th, which is actually a Friday. So it's July 8th, 15th, 22nd. Yeah. And there would be the 29th. Maybe we just get an extra week. I don't know. That's why I wish there was dates by all of these.
I wish they were all Tuesday dates.
Yeah. Give me one moment.
Or Wednesday dates, but have a consistent date. I wish we had a real calendar. like a real calendar.
Heather, are you able to share what I'm sharing right now?
No, you haven't shared anything.
Let me press that button.
Yeah, that would be helpful. I mean, I know the dust storm hasn't made it to you, so
Not quite
okay.
there yet.
Alrighty.
So this is what I made. It's based off the information from the PVE calendar. It just shows you everything week by week.
Okay.
It's just easier for my brain to understand this. So I say, okay, right now we're in Bounty 33. That means next week is Pillage.
Yep.
So, and if all these dates might move around, but every raid we've had in like the last year, 2 years has always been the second Wednesday of every month.
Now, are your dates, I can't see it, but are your dates consistent, like showing every Tuesday or Wednesday? Or are you flipping around?
I have the event start date on there.
Yeah, he has the start dates, not the what we had before, which was the update date, which was sort of easier to follow, but wherever it was always Tuesday. But yeah, there is a missing week out of this calendar. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have to pick our songs well before that, so I'm not sure if they're giving us a week to do that. But that seems well out of, But I'm sure there'll probably be another contest at that point in time that may distract us from any actual game activities. But that is a good question there, Derpy. Yeah.
Well, the next time anybody talks to Kick, ask if they can be consistent on their dates, so that we.
Well, these ones actually show the date of the event.
Okay.
Are you off my screen?
I can be. I'll go back to.
Are you talking about Derpies? You're talking about Kicks's?
Well, Kicks, both of them are reflecting the date of the event.
Okay.
Historically, we would see things showing up on Tuesdays, and I'm wondering if this change happened because it's the July calendar, and Tuesday is May 30th. If that makes sense to you. Because it would actually be, if you look at the calendar that's on the screen, it would be May 30th would be the week for Pillage, but it actually starts July 1st. I'm not sure if that's what changed it or not, but I could see some complications associated with that. And
I just want to see a week at a time. So if there were 2 events in the same week, I'd want to see them in the same week, even if the dates were a little different.
Yeah. And Lego, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's my preference. Not that anybody cares. But
yeah, well, at least we got dates now that are coming.
We're getting closer.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process. Lego, you feel like scrapping your Hellswarms? So I assume that's what you were referring to. Okay, now that we've gotten all that straightened out and everything's clear as mud, let's move on, I guess. All right, BP next week. Sons of Poseidon and Cry Havoc are the TLCs. I don't know. Cry Havoc is the one everybody doesn't like. That's the PvP one, right? Or do you guys like this one now?
I think we like that one now that we have a full Warhound fleet built up.
Okay.
Yeah, now that we don't need what it offers, right? What does it offer that we need now?
Yeah. Okay, and plus some additional TLCs.
Which we don't know what those are?
For new people.
Yeah.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
I would just, depending on how good they are, just make those permanent campaigns.
Well, it says they're going to be available on an ongoing basis, but can only
Yeah. These sound like permanent campaigns. Maybe it's ones to earn Praetorians or in
Yeah,
front
but
of
Sounds like a
also-
permanent campaign.
It's also saying they can only do them once.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like a regular campaign, not a limited campaign that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't call them TLCs. Plus, yeah, so they're adding. Yeah, I'm assuming to either Inferno Dragons or Praetorians. So.
Yeah, because the campaigns out there are worthless for new players.
Yep.
Can't use those ships anymore.
Okay. Pillage briefing. Okay, that's where we expect to get the new Mutineer, Merciless Mutineer flagship, and Sam Diary, yada yada yada.
Wait, you missed an important part. The first taste of the new skirmish season via Tier 9 skirmish recon targets. So if you haven't decided on a build, looks like we might.
Okay, like we got, because the print is really small from what I'm looking at. Okay, so we get a second look at the at the targets, and hopefully at some point around there that we also get the. I'm hoping that we get the strategy guide.
Oh yeah, that's not on here. Yeah, they didn't come early with the strategy guide.
Yeah.
And the point of a strategy guide is not so we know how. It's not so that they just tell us, here's how you build your ships. It's so they tell us, hey, this particular weapon will be about this range and will be evade based, for example.
Yeah, or the whatever's coming out of the Tempest can't be countered by anything. That would be the other thing that would be good to be had in there. And last time they went with short range, close range, very short range, medium and long range, but we found that the short range could mean things that you could outrange with your weapons or things you couldn't outrange with your weapons. So that would be either the actual numbers or something that's consistent relative to the ability of the player's ships. Would be great.
I think it was especially confusing for Zealots because those aren't a normal range hole. They were very short. And so that just made things a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, but it's going to change again. Now we have longer range. So medium, can you outrange?
That's something they need to tell us.
Yeah. Define the terms or give us the actual range, I guess, would be the best. And the pirate playlist, a reminder, need to have that in by the end of the month. So have you been working on that one, Derpy?
Oh, I submitted mine.
Oh, you have. Okay,
it's not super pirate themed or summer themed, but it has a cow on water skis. So
okay, alrighty. And no Rick Catsley.
I thought about it.
Okay, I thought it might be 10 of them, but I guess not. And then we also, I don't know what happens on Canada Day, but I'm not sure if it doesn't sound like they'll be reviewing your playlist at that point in time. Does anybody know what happens on Canada Day?
It's kind of like 4th of July, I believe.
You have to have your playlist by July 1st. This is up to a 15 song playlist. They're going to announce the winners on July 2nd. So are they going to have time? I mean, seriously?
They're not listening. They're just judging based off the titles, I guess.
I think they're just going to throw all the names in a pot. It's kind of random. So whoever's name gets drawn.
Yeah. Whoever has the most Justin Bieber and
Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Did you go with cows with guns, Derby?
I didn't do that one, KB.
Isn't Brian Adams? Yeah. I think they just need to fill your playlist with all Canadians, and you'll be okay. So,
Here's a note. It says if you need support, please reach out to your lovely mods. I've never seen pics, so I don't know how lovely they are. So I'm going to challenge them to show us.
Well, I've seen Laredo's pick.
I haven't seen anybody's pic. So I think they should. I want to see how lovely they are. We'll vote.
Wait,
okay.
where does it say the mod thing? I can't.
Oh, bottom line: if you need support, please reach out to your lovely mods.
It doesn't show on my screen. Here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I'll be doing that.
Okay. All right. All righty. Okay. Well, let's move on.
Do we have any slides?
Um,
Yeah, these are same slides. Do you want me to jump
yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we don't know anything more about the saw factory, do we?
No.
So, okay. Let's move.
Not on that, but in Discord, Kickside Braden was teasing some information about future Defender whole stuff. Nothing concrete, just saying probably wouldn't have a hull that was a floating turret, would have something more that has a special ability similar to, I guess, the Gatekeeper and the Gorgon, in terms of that they're not only there as a defender.
Or the Carnage. The Carnage is...
Yeah, the Carnage and Handmaster, I guess.
Yeah, they've all had that. As opposed to just something that dumps out damage. So it's been there.
What? I didn't hear.
That the idea behind the Defenders is their primary purpose is not just to sit there and deal out damage. That they have another attribute to them that makes it more entertaining for base design.
It's pretty hard to be entertaining when the bloody things don't move most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Carnage moves. The Gorgon adds, it'll stop ships.
But you can't drive your. Is there any defense fleet you can drive now?
I think they're based on the assumption that you're not there when you get hit.
Because so many people just love to drive with it.
Yeah. I mean, driving is pretty much dead. I can't think of. You could bring back some tier 7 ships and float them around, but I'm not sure how helpful that's going to be. So yeah, driving.
Well, it's about as helpful as anything else in your bases now.
Yeah.
Yep.
My base still works.
Yeah.
Not against everyone, but it works.
Yep.
I think I'm actually on the top 100 global, medal wise.
Okay, medal or bounty points wise?
That's medal points, not bounty. Bounty,
Okay.
I'm like 1,000.
Okay.
Is that by defending or by hitting or both?
A little bit of both.
Righty. So how is bounty going for everybody, and what happens when your base gets flattened?
My base
Let's
hasn't
see.
been flattened yet, and I only
Is that good?
bases. I haven't done it since the kit spaces because it's too much trouble. I don't know who has time.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what happens. Derpy, is anybody's base been flattened?
Yeah, it starts. You get a 4-hour bubble, and you start repairing your base slowly, and your guard doesn't start repairing until you log in and start it manually. It's
Just like
Okay.
that.
as expected.
Okay, but it hasn't been that way for 2 months, so that's why I was
I
asking.
guess last bounty was working a little bit weird or something, but this one's working.
And the one before that, they were both working weird. So that's why I was trying to figure out what part of that was intentional and what part was, Okay, so now it's back to a 4-hour bubble, but things aren't repairing for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how long that actually is, but I think you also do get a repair reduction if you speed up everything, if that's not already normal.
Yeah, the numbers seem well down on Bounty this time around, I reckon.
How so?
Well, I just don't think there's been the same number of people doing it. Like, I had to look at the leaderboards yesterday, and they're only in the 500s, 500,000 points. You know, normally they've got 1 million up or more by now.
Are you just talking about the? I'm trying to understand. Are you just talking about the top part of the leaderboard, or lower participation because the number at somebody that's ranked at 2,000 is significantly lower in their points than they were previously?
Well, I think even the top end aren't going at it as much as what they normally have done. Now, I don't know whether that's because of the changes they made to the hell swarms and stuff like that, where it takes a little bit longer to kill stuff off. I don't really know. But
I
I
think
don't.
because the limited armors are born and no one likes them.
Yeah,
And they're
the
overpriced.
PvE players aren't, they don't have a burning desire to go get Conqueror armors because they could care less. They want defensive stuff. So PvE players aren't going to be jumping in. But
Well, right now, you need about 218,000 for all the armors. I'm at 117,000. Probably 85,000 of that was from day one, just hitting 96s for instant repair. At 117,000, I'm 1,000, around 1,000. I can't say that word.
1,000?
Yeah, I'm that place globally.
They're going to clap for me for jumping in on the assist.
hey, Derby, you got a video of him doing the 96s for instant repair?
A couple people on the TFC page had it. I didn't feel any motivation to make one, but those things should be back in the next few days.
Yeah, they should be back tomorrow, so I'll look for a video. I mean, I did them, but I don't get instant.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other? We've discussed how we repair relative to the bubble, and then the exorbitant cost of the armors, and then we discussed on Wednesday the what appears to be the overpowered nature of these armors, especially for players that were having a hard time or barely keeping ships out before. What the impact of these armors will be on them. I guess we could talk about that, and also what if you have 117,000 rupees, so you can get you can basically get one of all the armors, plus you'll probably end up with both armors. But if how would people prioritize which armors if you're not going to get that many points? I'm assuming the based on the increase and the weapons that we currently have, I'm assuming ballistic is number
That'll
one.
be the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at weapons in people's bases, you have ballistics with the decimator and the mongoose, or the ballistic with decimator and farsight.
Yeah.
Explosive with mongoose, and maybe radioactive with hellmouth. So you get ballistic, explosive, and radioactive. Gatekeeper does corrosive, so does the Drag Scatter 2. Most people are running some of those. Both of those can be pretty much or almost all damage avoided if you use the corrosive armor, so that could be nice. Like at this point, there's not a good reason to go for the missile one when you can already pretty much avoid most of the missile damage from Gorgons with a MC3 plate, for example.
Okay. So everybody got that? That's participating?
Yep,
And
good advice. Thank you.
I don't think these are necessarily overpowered. It's a large increase, but even if this thing is 300,000 extra deflection, your ballistic heavy turrets are still dealing 2 million, 4 million damage. So
Well,
it's nice. It's a big increase, and if you were just about barely killing a fleet, it will get in now. But it's not a total game changer.
It just felt that, as we talked about on the Wednesday show, it felt, well, yeah. For some people, it's a total game changer if they were barely keeping them out. But we were speculating on the Wednesday show, just pure speculation, that the saw factory was supposed to come out at a prior to these armors, at least according to the original schedule. And is that part of the issue? Because it seems like it's going to unbalance it. Because I don't know what percentage of the player base is barely keeping people out. You know what I mean? Or they're just shutting the door on people.
Yeah, there's still a lot of players that can't keep anybody out. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. 117 players.
TSM saying he's doing the 117 for nearly instant or instant repair. He's got a video on that one.
Okay, I wasn't sure what that was related to. And yep. I wanted COVID. I was going around licking doorknobs, and now I find it probably more enjoyable to get the clap. So there you go.
I missed something there and probably think I'm glad.
So
Wow.
What?
Nothing, just say wow.
Okay. Is there any other? Is there anything else that we should be discussing with Bounty that we haven't? Besides the fact that we're expecting the targets back, and
what did they do with the Mongoose that gave you more, or the ability to have more derby?
Yeah,
the maximum.
Extra.
Yeah, decrease the maximum. Do you recommend people go for those?
I have 3. I'm not getting any more because the problem with them is they miss a really fast fleet of warhounds or trenchers.
So if people have 3, they're probably good enough. So unless you have lots of points.
That's about what I think.
Better off with giving us an extra far side or 2.
I think they're better off giving us extra heavy turret so that we can put these things on. If
Mongoose is pretty good against a Hellstorm because it can't move. Hellswarm because it can't move. I just not plan on getting any. But if you think you're going to use it, I'm going to put it in before Pillage because I assume there'll be more in Pillage. Go ahead and get them.
Provided you can get enough points to get all the armors you want.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have any Mongoose, getting those is probably more important than armors. Although, I'd say the Hellswarm, Warhound, Trencher, for example, those would be what I would pick up first.
Right.
As long if you're going to be able to start building it before Bounty, like if I had 2 Warhounds and I finished building both of them, and I have no PvP things to build before Pillage, I'd get another Warhound before I get something defensive. That's just me.
There you go, straight from the cow's mouth.
Yeah, if you're comparing, because of this new armor, comparing Farsights versus Hellmouth, I think the Farsights are probably better, just because their damage gets reduced by they are able to do more damage after hitting an armor.
Okay. So I think I have 4 or 5 on my base.
Yeah, I actually took out all my Hellmouths last month and put in. On my island, I have 4 Farsights and 3 Mongoose.
Very good.
And then I have like 4 or 5 Decimators, and people in this meta are using a lot of Blitz fleets, so they run straight into your short-range decimators, and that's been working for me fairly well.
Do you have many mountains?
I have 4. They're all at the back of my island. It has happened people get through, and then they have to circle around back in front a little bit and take one more shot from a gatekeeper. I think I'll be upgrading my labs more than to get that refit discount time and the also getting like the evade bonus. Those things are probably more important to me at this stage than an extra 2 mountains, especially because most of your heavy turrets can't shoot over them.
Which heavy turrets can shoot over them?
So I believe that's long range turrets. That's only the Hellmouth that can.
Okay. I've only got 2 mountains. I've been concentrating on my labs because I do want the faster refit times. So anytime I can get if I can get enough tokens and I can whip out a mountain in a day, I'll build a mountain. Otherwise, I'll work on the labs.
Yeah, I mean,
Surely, I would keep hoping we get tokens for portals. Like a 7-day portal token. To go to Portal 4 is crazy.
I still have 2 portals at level 3, and it's 18 days apiece.
Exactly, that's crazy. We really need. I missed those 7-day portal tokens, and that was back when portals only took 7 days.
I think we need a choke point elite back again.
There you go. Yeah, that would be great. Say it louder so the kicks can hear you.
I might go put it on Discord, see if people aren't going crazy about that.
Okay. Yeah, put it out there and let us know what they say at the next show.
Hey, TSM.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, TSM.
Oh, pretty good. And yourself?
Good, Cat? Yeah, not bad. Nice and recovering from a ridiculously hot heat wave we've had in the UK the last few days. I don't know why, but 32 degrees, 33.
32. Can you translate for?
It's nearly 80, 88, 90.
I was saying that close to 90.
About 90, yeah.
We were 98.
I'll do it.
It's 32.5 yesterday. So
Okay, but no dust storms that are coming over from foreign countries.
no, we've got enough crazy people in our own country. We don't need extra storms as well. People are going mad.
Nearly 91.
Okay,
Yeah, which is crazy for the UK.
Pretty warm. Pretty warm.
So you think it's the heat doing it?
Yeah, because I mean everybody's basically semi-lockdown. They decided that actually let's not worry about lockdown. Let's go to the beaches instead, and let's all then drink lots of alcohol because we haven't for ages, and then let's all kick off because that's a British thing, isn't it?
Well, 2 weeks from now or less, expect those numbers to rise.
what's going to happen with all that pinky white skin that's over there?
It's gonna get fried.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a mask tan in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, not to worry. There's some crazy people around.
Okay. So, how's your game experience been the last week or so?
Okay, I did some testing today. I did pick on an individual from one of the alliances. I've got a pretty weak VP fleet, the wars basically, and I was just basically mecking around and doing one armor at a time to see if there's any difference there. And it did help actually. I must admit, the ballistic one, as Derpy was saying, I changed one at a time. Obviously, you got to be careful. You can't go back in too many times because you give them a red bubble and it doesn't help. But I was using the same base because then I know what it looks like, sort of stuff, And I changed an armor on one, and I changed an armor on 3 of the ships, and then I was working out which one was lasting longer. I changed the skins on the armors on the ships as well to work out which one was doing well. And I think on average, the new ballistic armor on a reasonable set of warhounds is probably giving you about an extra, in front of decimators, about another 6 incoming shots probably. Roughly, about 6. That's what I think it is, which is not bad if you've got to sit there and try and take some gates out. It would definitely get you another gate anyway. Whether it would help you, obviously it's not going to help you against gatekeepers, but it would definitely help you take a gate out. So it's sort of worth it, but it's an awful large investment. It's interesting, because I mean there are other ways of doing it. Making the evade version of that fleet and then using a blitzing crew and just drive past it with as much evade as you possibly can and hopefully get everything to miss you. So yeah, it's as Derpy said. I don't think it's going to be a game changer, to be honest. I just think it's going to be a further sort of separation from what is and what isn't for those that have and those that haven't. So, but it isn't going to transform it. I don't think. Not yet, anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, it's going to transform. It sounds like it's going to transform the difference between the haves and have-nots. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, broaden the gap, I'd say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's going to completely. It's not an absolute game change because, as was said before, if you weren't stopping them anyway, you were just stopping them. You're just not going to be able to just stop them now, as opposed to you nearly won, but you didn't quite, and you're probably not going to win. And if it's like them getting through with a scrape, they'll get through with a quarter health probably. I'm guessing approximately.
So when I did my math based on the decimator, and the decimator the ballistic plate will have the least impact on the decimator because it's got the most damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Using a decimator, 4 million damage, and against a ballistic plate and a conquest battery and all that stuff. With the old ballistic plate, you take 2.46 million damage. With the new one, you take 2.58 million damage. Is what I got.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
But the impact on the far side would be much higher, right?
Yes. And that's noticeable as well. I've noticed that going in the channel. You definitely, and actually you can zip left and right a little bit. So I think, I have a quick look. What did I put on? I think I put on, what did I put on? I put on, radioactive, and I put on ballistic. That's the two I put on a couple of my my warhands. And I definitely noticed. I mean, I was zipping across someone's channel. This is a different base, actually, just a normal everyday one for bounty. And I was zipping left and right with the hell mounts and that sort of stuff, And they were doing virtually no damage at all this time, or not enough to make it a concern, because they got a good splash range and that sort of stuff. And obviously, they're not accuracy based. But I was actually waiting for the gatekeeper to sink back down again. I thought, all right, I've made a mistake here. I've got up too early. The gatekeeper's not going down. So I went left and right a couple of times. And actually, I was really surprised how much they stayed alive. I was quite impressed. That's the ships that obviously I'd had the armor fitted to, and the ones that didn't obviously took the normal amount of damage. So that did help a lot. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it helps, but I don't think, as Derby said, I don't think it's actually going to transform the game and break it as such. That's my opinion. If you're still a lousy driver, you're going to die. So
okay,
gonna die.
Okay, that's blunt. That's blunt, but if you suck, you still suck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means it's not a game changer. The game changers are if you suck and you can still get through.
I think the game changer is when the next penetrative item comes into defense. I think that's going to really upset a few people because a lot of our holes are weak against missile and that sort of stuff. So when that does come in, that's going to really upset a few people on the attacking side, I think.
Vincent asked a question that I'm not sure if anybody can answer here. I know sometimes, at times, TSM, you don't fear the coin. Do people feel the mutts are underperforming in the TLC? I don't think anybody else has a completed fleet. I don't know if you do either. He asked, do people feel that the mutts, the mutineers, are underperforming in the TLC?
Well, I suppose question one is, why are you using mutineers? Because actually your X1 riots are stronger. They don't look it because the armor level's lower. But if you look at actually the riot itself, if you look at the defensive stats, look at the percentages, they're obviously survival, concussive.
Well, let me stop you for a second, because his next thing is, I get the main mechanic is missing in those targets. There's no ammo ships to.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, so you're just relying on what is the basics, and the basics isn't as impressive as what it is on the Riots. But the Riots have a much more greater survivability. Actually, the ammunition that you're using, that's okay. We don't get the fireball things, the little ball things from the ammo carriers, but actually, the weapons that are on those is still quite strong. The point is, you've not got the resistance levels as what you have on X1 Riots, and that's why they're dying quicker. It's not that they're not as firing as well, because they are killing the ships just as quick. I took, for one of the levels of the TLC, I took 2 ships in, and it didn't take any longer to kill the target on the first level. I only got 2 done because I'm doing it in slow time this time. I'm doing the Ren thing and proving a point that it can be done. So I'm following exactly the same thing, and most of my alliance doing the same. So the target didn't really take a huge amount more difference in time, but I did take about a third as much again in damage. And that's with the Riot flagship and then the 2 Muts, which are U3, both of them.
Okay.
But so they've got a bit of firepower, but they don't have the resistance, and that's the point. They just don't have the survivability that X1 Riots have. So that's why they seem a bit rubbish. And obviously the X1, the Riot, obviously flagship, also helps as well, doesn't it? Because it's got an aura that obviously gives boost to the stats, obviously across all 5 ships, which it doesn't give any stats at all to obviously the Mutineer. So the idea is to use your Riots to go in there to get the hulls and the bonuses to get your Mutineers up and running. It's not necessarily use the couple of Mutineers you've got to go in there and get more Mutineers. And I think that's probably the reason why Kixeye gave the option to, as ever, buy a set of Riots, and then to do, which is crazy, buy a fleet that's just about to go out of service to get the next fleet. But that's the way the game works, unfortunately.
Yeah, I understand why people are asking the question, because historically they either have nerfed the target to make the new hull work. The example would be the Punisher with the when they drop the Pluto cannons, so people and drop the effect of the Pluto cannons, so the newest hull would work better than the previous hull. So it's informative that it's not it's not outperforming it, and there's reasons behind it, but it's also a bit deeper. I mean, the Riots, you're using obviously mortar countermeasures on those ships, and they're working in this TLC. Whereas now people already know now, because of the VXP, that obviously gales and all that sort of stuff don't work on them. So there's no point putting them on, because they just don't do anything. So people are now building them without any countermeasure for explosive, and then this TLC has got explosive that you can counter. So the Riots are going to do better again, because they're going to knock down some obviously the explosive stuff, because there's obviously Reaver Hulks in there and that sort of stuff as well. So there are various reasons, and it all adds up. That's the point. The whole thing adds up. But the survivability example for my Raging Riot, looking at it now, looking down through my defense stats, I've got explosive survival at 1,096%, and I've got concussive at 1,112%. And the Muts is nowhere near that, even at U3. Where's my Mutineers? Let's have a look at one here. My Mutineer is sitting now, and that's at U3. Concussive survival 264%, and explosives obviously is 192%. So it's considerably less, and the numbers actually are nowhere near. 20, that concussive then relates to 24,000. Which is nowhere near when you actually flip it across and you look at the Riot, and the Riot itself, when you look at defense, that concussive survival actually relates to 71,000, and that's the reason. Your deflection is just not, or not your deflection, but your survivability is just not there. And that's my take on it anyway. And I think it's probably appropriate that at the moment, we're not getting the boost capability. Okay, go ahead.
I did a little bit of math earlier on the forums, right when these things were first released. The build that we were using has changed a little bit since then. But when you figure out and factor in the survival you get from the auras and everything else. A fully built U0 Mutineer fleet with a fifth ship with a flagship in it has about the same survival as an X1 Riot fleet in terms of effective armor points.
Okay.
Because that's what you need to go for. Like the Riots have a much larger survival, but they have about a quarter of the armor points, a third of the armor points.
It's a third, isn't it?
starting
Yeah.
out. So it's about an X1 Riot fleet is a little bit better than a U0 fully built Mutineer fleet, but the problem is we don't have a U0 Mutineer. We don't have a fully built Mutineer fleet at all.
Yeah, and it's a little like saying, my Mark 1 Ford Escort with a trailer on the back isn't as good as a semi-Arctic at carrying around, 40 tons worth of equipment. Well, it's a faster hull, but it's not the right machine. You can't use X for Y, although it's the same thing. It goes on the road and it's got wheels, but they're two different things at the moment because one's not fully built. I'm sure when it gets to the end state and you've got it with your flagship and they're all four up there at X1 as well, and then you did like for like on the TLC that will probably come back later, you'll be smashing it out as if it's nothing. But we're just not there.
Okay, we got an expert on this. Mike, as a former Ford employee,
Yeah.
how much should a Ford Escort tow? I think you worked on the transmission for the Ford Escort, right?
Yeah. How much
Really?
wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck?
Okay. But yeah, was it the Escort or another?
I probably should I should probably keep my mouth shut. Focus.
Okay. So it wasn't the Escort.
No, I was involved with the.
Okay, I was just checking as far as what the towing capacity
Actually,
might
I
be.
don't think the Escort was made for towing, which was more or less implied by a previous conversation.
Okay. Yeah. If you hire an Escort, you don't ask her to tow for you, do you?
You get a
Unless
whole
you're into that
different
kind of thing.
subject.
you get a
whole different subject.
pinto.
Well, I'm sorry.
You get a pinto for that.
Like I say, our Escorts ended up being rally cars and going off road. So there we go.
Yes,
So
yes.
we used to take them in the woods and thrash them, but that's a whole different ballgame.
They probably did. Yeah.
Were you
Okay.
taking in the woods and thrashing?
The Escort. I have no idea what's going on now. This is not my fault. Anybody?
Anybody that's from the UK knows exactly what I'm talking about, but obviously you're just changing it into a different tangent that's going off down in a road that in a path that's completely, inappropriate. Maybe I don't
That's because he asked me a question that usually does go south.
know. All right, okay.
No, all good.
You need your bounty anyway.
Personally, I'm not sure if anybody wants to do a mock-up. Personally, I've found 5 specials that I'm cool with on all my ships.
Mhm.
Does anybody want to? I think probably most people agree.
Yeah, let me pull up my
Okay.
screen.
Okay.
I still have stats that I want to know. And this next target is coming, as Lady Cat was saying. It's important, I think, to see this target, and I want to see the stats, obviously, in Pillage of the flagship, because the aura that it's going to produce is going to actually decide my final special, I think.
I'm sorry. Say it one more time. What's going to decide your final special?
The aura effect off the flagship.
Okay. Do we know it has an aura?
That's my point.
Okay.
No.
Well,
So-
it will at least have the basic Mutineer survival 4,000 each. Come on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's more likely to have 8, I'm thinking, 8 of each. Bear in mind that obviously they're taking more damage compared to the Riots when in those particular targets. Clearly the Riots aren't going to do very well in obviously the Mutineer target. Not once you got them up and running. I think it's going to make a huge difference.
Okay. Okay. I was okay. Besides the engine, I was fine with 5 of them on all the ships. But it seems like number 1 and number 5, there's a potential for, 4 being commonality, and because I forgot about the Reef Reader, Reef Rider / Old Glory.
Yeah. Well, I'm not using the Old Glory because I can't be bothered to get it out of FM, to be honest. So.
Yeah, but if you could be bothered, if you had your brother go in and
I'd still use the Reef. To be honest,
if you're already having a really high evade build, the extra evade and extra survival don't really mean a lot. The 10% concussive damage is multiplicative, so that's great. Like if I take this thing off, I'm at 3.4 million damage right now. I take that off, I go down to
it's the damage
3.1 million.
Like. But when it's across the whole fleet, it can make a difference.
So
anyway, I'm not doing it.
The Reef Rider, that's the one where I put it on one ship, which I assume is going to be my 5th ship. The rest of them I'm in agreement with. I'm assuming on my 5th ship and my flag, that empty spot, I'm assuming I'm going to go with Guidance Scrambler 3, GS3. But what do you do with the middle ships?
Yeah, so that's my question too. What
you try and, I think, stop them from taking any explosive as possible, because if the torpedoes, as in generally for these things, hit either ship 1, ship 5, maybe ship 1, 2, and 5, you make them concussive resistant, and then 3 and 4, you make them explosive resistant. So your overall repair time is a bit less.
Yeah, but that arises the question: do we know that torpedoes are only going to hit 1 and 5?
No, mate, not a clue, mate. Not a clue.
Yeah,
it's too early. Still too early.
So if the torpedoes, and if we in the preview targets that we get next week in Pillage or after Pillage, if torpedoes and you're dealing significant concussive damage to the middle 3 ships, then you probably want evade on all of them.
Yeah.
If not, I plan on using something like Explosive System 4 for this special.
Yeah. I can understand why. Absolutely, because the splash radius is quite decent and projectile speeds and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it makes sense.
But if we end up now, I obviously haven't had any chance to see these targets outside of VXP weekend, and neither has anyone else here, at least as far as I know.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe Hefe's a player expert now. I don't know. Anyway. If these torpedoes end up just hitting 1 and 5 or 1 and 2 a little bit more often, and still hit the other 3 a significant amount of time, then you will probably want to evade on all of them. If evade ends up being useless on the middle 3 ships, then go for something that increases explosive survival or increases your damage.
And that's the thing, that you can go for maximum firepower on those particular ships. It may be better to put 2 cormorants on 1, 2, and 5, and no cormorants on 3 and 4, maybe.
That was my plan. Or I was going to do 2 cormorants on 1, 2 on 5, and everything else full of weapons.
Yeah, I mean, cormorants are okay, but they're not brilliant. They're just generally okay. They don't stop a great deal of stuff. They stop some stuff.
Yeah, a little more than 60%, or a little more than 50%, 60%.
I mean,
you can't buff that at all.
No, and we don't know what they're I mean, they could say they're 150% accurate when they come in, and they could change it to 130% accurate, 170% accurate. It's an unknown stat, so we just don't know where we're going at the moment. I mean, I think I took out about somewhere around about 50%, about half of the incoming ones in the VXP target, I think, from what I was looking at.
Yeah. Now, something else you could go for, if ships 1 and 5 end up taking a bit more damage, you can go for something. If you're looking armors, you have
I'm three
choices
concussive at the moment.
That's definitely yes, and then you could go for 3 explosive on your middle ones.
Yeah, and that's a gamble, but that's a gamble I'm going to take, because it did pay off last time, and that is what happened. So
Do you want a bigger gamble?
Go on then.
Oh.
This is a gamble. Yes.
Your
Yeah.
concussive 2, ZCT2 does 2% concussive damage, which is great because that's multiplicative. Adds
Yeah.
But the older
6.4k
armor.
concussive.
Yeah.
This one, in the Forsaken Mission, cheaper, older one, right? It adds slightly less concussive, which is not a huge difference whatsoever when you're already at
But look at the
everything
evade.
on your holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for the 10% evade. So you could go over something on your last 3 ships like this, and your damage is reduced by about 100, 150,000, maybe 200,000. But your evade is increased fairly significantly.
If they're targeting that, yeah, and I put 2 cormorants on there, I would then, and then make sure then obviously you got your reloader as well of your cormorants, and then give that a go. If it's hitting number 5 / number 1, 1, 2, and 5 can be built that way. It's just still too many unknowns, But I don't mind that personally, from my perspective. We've gone back, and I said that when we did the Zealots as well. For and I don't know who's doing the designs at the moment, that sort of stuff, but at least they're giving us back some of the control. Rather than if you don't build it this way, which is where it got to sort of the end of last year. If you don't build it this way, you're just not going to get a good finishing time. Here, you've got some sort of like decisions to make, and it is based off the unknowns, as it always was. But at least there's options, and like you said, that's 2 different armor options and 3 different combinations of armors: high evade, low evade, this engine, that engine. A special here, a special there. It's been brought back to a bit of player control, and I like it. I think it's really, really good. We'll all settle on some sort of build after we've sort of like seen a few targets.
But it is a roll of the dice, right?
But that's not the end of the world, is it? It's a calculated gamble.
Not the end of the world, but I'm just saying it's, because one of the things that I like to push for is some sort of strategy guide that explains what the target is. Not how to build it, but okay.
But we did get a hint in VXP, didn't we? We got a hint of this is the incoming ship. We already worked out because I think it was Dopey that told me chuck a Praetorian there, see what happens. Yeah, nothing. It didn't do anything at all. Yeah. So we've had a bit of a strategy guide, and we've got a bit of an idea. But the point is, the idea is it's a discovery method, and I know discovery method is expensive. It can be very expensive. You go down the build avenue, down the wrong avenue to claw your way back to neutral point and then go forward again can actually be demoralizing and actually kill your game for that cycle. It can do, but ultimately that is always the way the game was played, and everybody would try and get the drop on the other person to go, do you know what, I've built it the right way, and it's just pure luck sometimes. Otherwise they may just give us completely built hole and go, all right, for this season, and here's the hole, and it's already built for you and you get on with it. To me, that's boring.
Yeah, but it's
somewhere in the middle. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So we've had the VXP target. There, as Lady Cat said, there's another target coming as well in one of the other sort of PvE options that's coming up before the raid starts. So we're going to get 2 bites of the cherry of having a look at something that could be similar. My worry is, and at the moment, that hole there, which Derpy's got, and I get it, it's a good hole. But actually,
the safe version is this one.
It's a very safe version, but I'm wondering a bit later down the line. There is definitely a ship in there, as I did when I did the VXP breakdown as well, target breakdown. You've got to kill that little battle cruiser first. What if one of the later targets, the S targets, has 2 of those in there? That ship that you've got there won't catch up with it. It's not fast enough. That's my only worry.
Okay.
So if you want to make it faster,
it's a quick swap, isn't it? Because you've got some options, but yeah, hyper 30. So I'm gambling on that for myself. Or and there are other options. It's just a what if. It's just a quick change. You could do it sort of like overnight and that sort of stuff. But obviously you want to do them all together. But I'm just concerned that when I was trying to chase down those in that VXP target and I was playing around with it, that build there, I couldn't catch the ship up.
Okay.
And if you can't catch that ship up and kill it, is the very first thing, which is why I did that sort of like big picture thing that I put up on the TFC page. If you don't kill that ship first, you're dancing around and chasing it. Every time you dance around and chasing it, they're shooting at you, and then you're going to take a shed load of damage. It doesn't matter how good your build is, you're going to take more damage. So it's another risk. But if you don't kill that little battleship off first, then you are definitely going to suffer. And God forbid there's two of them in one of those targets. Look what's been happening with the previous raid. Up come the S target. One was obviously the blitzing target. It was no problem at all, the auto target as we used to call it. And the other one was the drive careful target, and you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to get burned, because they were setting up all those red aura rings and that sort of stuff. It could be very similar. One may have none or just one, and one may have two. I'm guessing. I have no idea, but you'll need a fast ship, and then you'll have to pick your route to make sure you get rid of both of them as soon as possible. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean,
I might be completely wrong, but I don't write to. I'd rather aim on the side of caution and potentially take another 20 minutes damage than not be fast enough and have to do a refit halfway through a raid.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you bring up the fact that it would require a consistent build with all the ships.
Yes.
Because because you can't mix with these engines. You can't mix Hyper 30 with Guidance Scrambler 3 because of the speed.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, so you can't.
Yeah, this is not concussive sync drive where you have all ships are at the same.
Unfortunately, no. And actually, that was something that my brother Nobby was talking about. He was thinking, well, why don't you put on concussive sync drive, because then they will be the same.
Your mom is your mom called him Nobby and called you TSM. It's not nice, is it?
Old nicknames.
I know. Yeah. It's because that would force a consistent build across everything.
Okay.
Could be something.
Don't you like the conundrum though? It's a right conundrum.
Something that they're working on. That they think this is the best way to do it is a consistent build, because from what I've heard that they've heard that players don't like to drive a tank or drive. So maybe that is part of the issue, is creating a consistent build across all the ships, and that would do it. And make Hyper 30 or what is what's the other? I forget right off the
damage diffusion system.
Yeah, the damage diffusion was to the left of it, wasn't it? Yeah. But very much like the Manticores, whilst we didn't have a tank per se, we still built the fleet. We didn't build 5 of the same. We drove them as a bunched up fleet. Never put one out in front. And that's all. Particularly the corrosive scatter version. And I really enjoyed that fleet. But different CICs and different sort of weapons, and one had the evade and one had the counters on it. It was still a fleet of 5 ships that you drove together. It wasn't tanking like you would do Praetorians and that sort of stuff, But they weren't all identical, and there is nothing wrong with that. It does make it,
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just sort of trying to figure out, because they're always pushing us down an alley. We're not an alley. That sounds bad, but pushing us, in a direction where they feel comfortable as far as designing the targets. And I'm just wondering if you've, by going Hyper 30 and all of them, because it's easier to design. Who's in
My
your
base
base?
is under attack.
Woo! Oh my god! Is it TSM?
It's Iron Pirate.
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be boobies again.
Yeah,
I've seen
every
this
morning
bit.
I wake up, I say, "Did boobies come get me?" And it hasn't been
Well,
until yet.
that's oh my, yeah. That could be a problem.
Let's see if he's updated his armor on his Hellstorms then, eh?
Okay,
Right. He's being exceptionally keen.
Go ahead.
I thought he was going to try and go around the back and do it up, being keen and thinking he can get the complete 100%, which people are still doing, which I find funny.
Well, you couldn't have me. I don't have anything back there, but you couldn't have me leaving my launch pad up. That'd just be rude. It's like this guy's a pretty good player. He's getting my dock from here, or he's getting the Houndmaster tanked onto the trenchers.
Yeah.
Hellswarms. I just changed his land tile and bumped it out, so he was one closer and he could hit that Drac scatter too.
Well, it'd be interesting to see, mate, when you zoom in, if he's actually managed to fit the ballistic plates on yet, because you've got far sights, I take it, and we'll know straight away.
Yeah, once he
gets
comes
into
in range, which is right about, it's over on the left side. You'll have to tell me if he does or not.
There he goes.
Can't
He's
tell
in.
too well.
We'll soon know.
He's stunning for quite a while on my ships here, so I don't think he has tactical field resistance on here.
Which makes me think he's probably done the armor upgrade.
Into Mongoose range now.
Let's have a look. Oh, he definitely hasn't got explosive on there. No, look at the dang. Wow. Oh, mate, you're going to be too close now.
He's splitting up a little bit. My gates are going down. This doesn't look too good. He's got a lot more damage than some of the people who hit me. Okay, we're into the decimator range. Looks like he's about half health on his.
He needs to pull back. Yeah, so he's got new
ships.
armor on this, definitely. He's tanking with them. Look,
he's charging right into like 3 decimators.
he is
I think
tanking with
gonna
them.
get me.
He's got the ballistic on there.
Okay, one's down.
He's a bit too close now.
2 decimators left up there.
He should have stayed
One
back.
gate still left. Okay, one of those is down. He's over my special hell gatekeeper. Okay, those are down. But he's got 2 trenchers, full health against.
Do you know
no
what?
gates.
If he hadn't gone in so close, he'd have been all right there because he's inside the inner ring of the mortar now, and he couldn't fire on that last decimator. If he'd have waited
got
a
a
little bit
rocket
longer.
incoming. Okay, he depth charged to surface these things, which resets their timer. So he'll be able to charge sort of right over them.
They should get into those trenches. He should do. 2 should do it. I would have waited on the depth charge personally, but
Yeah, I will. He's gonna. Yeah, no, that was
he's all right.
great timing.
He's in the back. It's a good hit.
I got my 1 surprise decimator left at the end.
Depends which way he goes now. Yeah, he's in.
Ah,
Nice hit.
dang
That
it!
was nice. You're protected, mate. You're good.
I had like
They've definitely got an armor upgrade on those hailstorms, though. Definitely.
200 unsecured bounty. I don't know why he hit me. Hey, leave my dock. What are you doing? Rude.
Yeah, there's no need to be there now. He may just leave. He's got all he needs. See my point, as I just said a minute ago, though. People are like, no, I'm just going to stay. Oh, well. That was amusing.
Oh, it was cool. He probably knows we're watching.
Is he just sitting there waiting now? Is it time out? Yeah. How much you lose, mate? How much you lose?
Is my connection back?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't tell. It's
He's still in there doing it.
So Derby froze.
Alrighty.
yeah. I'm back now, but he's still on my base on my screen.
Yeah, I'm still seeing it.
Okay.
Oh, look, he's not moving.
There he
He is
gone.
now.
Okay.
I have to say,
28
Trent-
seconds left.
trenches don't really care too much about gatekeepers.
Especially when they're stopped.
Yeah. The gatekeepers don't do a lot to a
pretty-
trencher.
Pretty wide splash radius. Or pretty large spread value. Well, let's see what the damage was. See, I think that's a good hit. To me, that's a
Yeah, I
fairly-
think so.
That's like a good player with a lot of the top stuff. Skilled driver, broke it down. He messed up a little bit, could have done a little bit better, but that seems like a fairly good.
The outcome is
what
the
I would
outcome.
hope to happen.
He achieved it, and that's all that matters, isn't it? That's a good hit.
Looks like I took a lot of ballistic from trenchers, a lot of explosive from his mortars, barely anything from his trencher missiles, barely any from the UAV. It's basically worthless. And I did a lot of ballistic, most of which he evaded. Some concussive from my 1 gatekeeper and that hit short range. Corrosive maybe from those Drac 2s. Explosive from the Mongoose.
Okay, so you've gone concussive with your gatekeeper, not corrosive?
One gatekeeper is a Piranha depth charge build, but I need to change that. He took 24 bounty and 49 medals. Come on.
Was he after the medals? He was after medals, mate. That's what he was after.
You're no longer in the top 100.
I had 24 bounty.
I think you heard that.
That was a challenge.
It
Yeah.
was. Let's see if I don't know if mine's updated yet. Yeah, it has. I'm still 80th. Am I?
Yeah, that says you're 80.
But if I go to sector, I have 484, and I go to global, I have 523.
Yeah, it hasn't. Yeah.
Imagine most people are dumping medals now because they can't secure their bases. So.
Okay.
Hey ho. Anyway.
So is there much else? Since we don't have slides anymore, is there any?
I had to watch the hits.
Well, okay. Well, is there anything else that we should be discussing at this point in time? We've discussed builds on our Mutineers. We've discussed. I don't know. Is there a topic that I've missed so far tonight?
No, but I have one thing I do need to say before we end. Happy birthday, Kenny. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah.
What's this? Sirens and ballistic countermeasures work against trenches. Yeah, that's not the first person that's asked that question. Countermeasures I've never used, so I don't know. Because there is a countermeasure that countermeasures obviously ballistic, but I don't know anybody that's ever used it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about. I haven't used it personally, but I think it should work.
Yeah, and I generally have no idea. Without getting someone like Venom to come across, and then we'll go out and battle on the sea or something, or we'll put it in the base and he come in and hit it, and I'll see what happens if I stick it outside the base. I literally don't know. I've never seen anybody use that countermeasure against trenches before.
Sounds like it's worth trying.
Yeah, it can be worth trying if I've got some time. I don't know how long it takes to build, but yeah, it would be worth sticking it on something. I was hoping that we could get something like the countermeasures like that and fit on lurkers. It's a shame you can't put countermeasures on lurkers, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like they're phasing countermeasures out of the game.
I don't know why. Well, out of the PvP game.
Well, yeah, PvP. Yeah, well, you don't know why I said that, or you don't know why they're doing it.
No, I was out of the PvP side of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's harder to test with. It's harder to test the effectiveness of countermeasures than it would, straight up, Don't you think they're part of it? No?
Well, I'm not so sure. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I like the fact that, in the old days, we used to have, again, options to build a countermeasure ship, options to build a such and such, and it just depends. It was that part of that. I've got a ship in my base that's completely random that people are all thinking, why is that there? And it's there for a reason, because I'm trying to test something out, and whether it works, whether it doesn't work, I have no idea. But I've gone back from a really old ship and a really old, weird special and a setup on it that so far is working very well, which is quite bizarre because it's really old tech. But I'm quite surprised. And I've got a really old, as Derpy noticed the other day, I've got a really old turret in my base.
Is it a D1049 as far as on the weapon on the ship? Not D1049N.
Oh, I've had some of those. Yeah, I was using some of those, but that was on the Houndmaster. Yeah,
I've got some of my Houndmaster purely for the special ability.
Yeah. So I had that, but I've taken the Houndmaster out now. I'm trying something different.
Okay.
But, so far it's working. But you know what PvP's like. No one wants to give their secrets, so.
Yeah.
Although saying that, lately fleet builds. I don't really care about fleet builds. So if someone wants to use a fleet build, crack on. I don't keep secret sauce on that sort of stuff because I don't care. That doesn't bother me. So someone was a copy all the stuff. I generally put the builds up, and I don't really care too much about attacking because I think that's the bit of the game that I've literally must have hit 40 bases probably in the last 2 weeks, and I've left at least one capital building in each one of them. So when I leave, my ships are damaged anyway. The person knows I won. I've done a couple of spin arounds in the circles sort of stuff. Left, and there you go, mate. I left your warehouse, and you get a free fix. I've done that to at least 40 players in the last 2 weeks.
Well, okay.
Well, I don't want the medals. I don't care about them. And what apart from, I've got you're a victor. It's no different. I'm in the back of their base. I killed everything by one warehouse, which I could just drop across and kill it anyway. And I haven't done so. Just so then if I leave, his base is fixed, everything's good, and he's good to carry on. Why put somebody out of the game?
But you got to do donuts in the base first, right?
Say again?
Still got to do donuts in the base first.
Well, yeah. But if you're going to beat somebody, you're beating them. But then the day, why knock somebody out of the game for that many hours? I mean, it's a bit different in Bounty because things are fixing a little bit differently. But in the normal game, it takes ages.
And there's so many times in the normal game that I want to play and I can't play because my dock is down, and I don't care how many of those chests I open, I can't get dock repair tokens, and I get frustrated. Yeah. The player has caused me not to be able to play the game.
Yeah. So for me personally, I mean, once I'm in there and I go, do you know what? That's it. It's done. I'll leave a warehouse. I'll go, thanks very much. I'll exit and that sort of stuff and go, there you go, mate. You can carry on now. And the amount of people that will come back on comms and go, mate, that was a real decent thing to do. I can actually now get on my FM, or I can actually get my, I haven't killed their dock, or I haven't done something or other. Because, like I said, there's nothing else to. What are you gaining by doing that? I mean, okay, it's the game, and big alliances won it because it's all about medals, but I don't care about those. So.
Yeah, but a lot of people use the old excuse it's a pirate game, so that's.
Oh yeah, okay,
that's their excuse for being an arsehole, basically.
Just like that's why they sniped our fleets while we're in the middle of doing a TLC.
Exactly. Yeah. It's their green light for
being a dick,
not a nice person. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also an extremely effective way to implement Stockholm syndrome in the players that you hit, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I know why you said that as well. I know exactly why you said that. Okay, I'm not going to enter into that conversation, but yeah, there's been some interesting traffic this week on people not being happy with what's been happening. Have you been talking to Ren recently?
Right.
Well, I just heard back from the guy who hit me. He says he doesn't have the new armor on those things.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm surprised he managed to drive in there like that.
Because he face tanked through like 4 or 5 decimators. Probably he face tanked through like 3 decimators at least. While being hit by my long range turrets.
Whatever he's got, it was a good hit. It was well driven.
Yeah. And one trencher had 2% health left, and one trencher had 75% health left. Health left.
That's the classic problem with the decimator, though, isn't it? It only targets the one ship, unless you got, and if you got priority target, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, I think I can't check right now. Everything's damaged for 7 hours, but
yeah. See, that's my point. Now, what can you do for the next 7 hours? Very little, unless you want to coin it.
Yeah, I did spend 5 coins on repairing earlier. I can spend 6 right now actually and repair my whole base if you go from the tab on the right side instead of like the outpost.
That's the good thing about Bounty. That you can do.
6 coins to repair I might actually do that. I mean, I have enough. And
it's like 5 for the dock, isn't it, and 6 for the whole base or something stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, but I might as well just take a break and log off. But my dock has an hour left on repairing, which is strange. I think dock repairs are half off during Bounty, aren't they?
Oh, maybe they are. I don't know.
There they are.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I keep my dock on the outside. I don't care. I just keep it on the outside.
I've got an explosive overlay or something like that to boost the damage of my Mongoose on there. Because that's my other solutions put a warehouse on my outpost island and put a couple things on there. Because I'd like to have the fuel-airing munitions to get projectile speed on my on my outpost too, but it's
Yeah.
I just don't have enough slots.
Yeah, it needs like 9 slots. It's not got enough, is it? I want it all.
Well, these
Oh, dear.
choices they make us have to make.
Yeah, it's a bit like the base power thing, isn't it? It's quite funny.
It's annoying.
Anyway, not to worry. Yeah, so I found a use of the UAV fleet. UAV fleet's very good for hitting the 117 kickside bases. That was funny. That was. I managed to do it. I managed to do it also with the subjugators, but it's a bit slow. But you can still do it with 1 warhound or a trencher and 4 subjugators. It works, but it's it just takes a couple of hits. But with the UAV hellhounds, you can do the whole lot in 3.5 minutes.
Oh, that's good. I want
22 seconds fix on the outside it is. On average. Well, anyway.
So anybody have any appearances coming up soon? I mean, we know Derpy with his judging his wet t-shirt contest, but
That's not really an appearance, It's I'm not the main attraction there.
wow, some people. Oh, Derpy is judging my wet t-shirt contest. I'm assuming the guys and girls that show up for that, well, Derpy's the judge, so I'm going to show up for that, right?
Possibly.
So, okay. Well, if there's not anything else, I guess we'll end the show and we'll come back on Wednesday and discuss Pillage with the new Punishers, new Punisher targets, and see how they all work out for everybody. So, all right. If there's nothing else, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody and see y'all later.
Good night,
Good night.
All right.
Take care.